Hello Internet, I'm the Disney Brain, and today we're going to talk about something Disney related. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. With this, the sequels Disney Channel has planned, and the forgettable junk they've made recently, I think we can safely say that the original part of Disney Channel original movie was abandoned in the mid-2000s. Even the passable zombies is remarkably similar to Descendants with what its social commentary tries to accomplish, but I'm not here to whine about that. I'm here to discuss the digging up of the Kim Possible franchise because reasons. For those of you not in the know, the original Kim Possible was a surprisingly great Disney Channel cartoon from 16 years ago. It had likable and engaging characters across the board, and most of said characters came with a voice actor that couldn't have been better suited to the character they portrayed, especially the flawlessly voiced Shigo. All things considered, it's probably the best animated show Disney Channel has ever made outside of Gravity Falls. What I'm getting at with all of this is that I perfectly understand the mindset behind bringing back this franchise, especially since the two movies it already has were both essentially enhanced, better multi-part episodes. Heck, they even got the Kim Possible creators back to helm this project. What could possibly go wrong? Hey, wait a minute. Oh, when will they learn? Alright, here's the thing guys, I'm not the type of person to start a shouting match over literally a single minute of footage. Doesn't make much sense to me. Yeah, there's no Rufus yet, yeah, we get next to nothing from Ron, yeah, Shigo doesn't get to say any of her snarky one-liners, and yeah, the action sequences look like a fan-made entry in a high school film contest, and none of that would even be talking points if this was presented as just a modern-day action decom, which would be cool. Assuming you don't count the handful of action bits in the Descendants movies, we haven't really gotten a decom designed around action since Girl vs. Monster way back in 2012, mainly because they've been milking those musicals for that entire span and beyond, with a couple of rare and dare I say original highlights sprinkled in between. But that's not what we're getting here. What we're looking at is a franchise revival in the form of a live action movie. So, if Disney is gonna paint that target on their back, despite copious amounts of evidence telling them how bad an idea this is, then people are inevitably going to aim for it. But, I feel like I have to emphasize that this movie still could be good. It just probably won't be. I mean, honestly, when's the last time a very thinly veiled attempt to cash in on nostalgia and brand recognition ever actually satisfied? Disney should know, since they are the biggest reason this trend of oversaturation exists. And now it's seeped all the way down to their television station right alongside Raven-Symoné. And while it's nice that the creators are back for this film, live action and animation are so vastly different that I very much doubt them being there will ultimately matter. They could teach Sean Giambroni the finer points of how Will Friedle works so well as Ron until he's blue in the face, but he'll still be a very, very different Ron. And since he's not Will, I very much doubt he'll be a better received one. But more than even that is Shigo, who is considered by some to be the show's best character. Nicole Sullivan is a comedy juggernaut, simple as that. Trying to recreate her brand of humor will probably work about as well as trying to recreate Ghostbusters. The reason I bring up these points is not to say that the movie will inevitably flop, but it will if it tries to recapture the old magic of a time now gone. Rather, what the movie should do is use its live action status to its advantage. They should try and create something distinct enough that it can't be viewed as simply a quick cash grab. For example, the dialogue written for Christy Carlson Romano back in the early 2000s would be hella dated now. You don't need to make this Kim sound anything like that Kim, and to their credit, it doesn't sound like they will. With Draken, you don't have to make him a larger-than-life yet somehow lacking in common sense bad guy. You can make him a bit sharper and a bit more troubled without making him gritty. Also, with live action, you can have the character interactions be more subtle and emotional. Maybe use that edge to give some weight to Draken's kind of tragic connection to the Possible family. The swap proves that silly and poignant aren't mutually exclusive in decoms, even modern ones, so I think that angle could really work. The reason I suggest these changes is because there's a reason being overly cartoony only works in cartoons. For the most part, you can't force fit that type of style onto live action and have much success. At best, you'll get awkward, cringy performances. But don't avoid adding energy to your film out of fear and become boring instead. There's no best case scenario for dull and flat acting, and at worst, you'll get live action Sokka. Disney has already decided that for some strange reason, Kim Possible must be forced back into the spotlight. and while the concept is obviously not original, the movie still can be, to some extent. This movie can take some elements from the show and make it fit with what they have to work with now, but it has to be a balancing act. Dragon Ball Evolution wanted nothing to do with its source material, while The Last Airbender tried to cram the entire Book of Water down our throats in one sitting. I know it's tricky to compare feature films with made-for-TV ones, but the general idea still holds. Don't be them. Give us a real story, one worth telling. Give us something that potential new fans and old ones alike can watch together, since that's probably your best case scenario. Nothing you do here will ruin anyone's childhood or something like that. I just don't buy into that narrative. But, that having been said, if the actual movie ends up feeling less story-driven and character-focused and more money-driven and bottom-line focused, everyone's going to notice. I, for one, have been burned way too many times to believe this film will be anything special, even before the trailer dropped. But, I'd love nothing more than to be proved wrong, because I really don't like watching bad movies. DCOM trailers do sometimes hide their quality though. To reference the SWAT once more, it's a better Freaky Friday in every conceivable way, all while it pretended to be something forgettable through its trailers. All in all, let's wait and see what this movie is really all about before delving into too much critical judgment. But as always, let me know what you thought of the trailer, and the idea of bringing back Kim Possible in general. And then, a few months from now, we'll see if either our faith is rewarded, or if our skepticism is confirmed. And until then, thanks for watching.